They'll go with a 4-4-2 diamond formation for that early lead.
An early goal will settle the nerves.
Their away team has been in bad form. They will feel the pressure.
The home side's kept 2 clean sheets in a row.
It's all about momentum.
Who will have the stamina to last the 90 minutes?
Their star striker is suspended.
They've got no kappa.
The marking will be tight.
This will be won or lost in the midfield.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet. Betway, for the love of the game.
December 7 is just around the corner. Nyame adoma Ghana for na omadwemu edaho motimi register 18 years and above. Omokoto aba ediayi omanpanyi. Whether the NPP will continue for the next 4 years, and I say ometimi the same former president John Dramani Mahama etimi abetwa so. Na in fact this season na conversation in Ghana in the period na bedi hunkomo is about who wins 2020 December 7 polls. Na nemaba na mene brabia NDC4 you know say onyomo communicator on the arts. One thing that I've loved from the part of the NDC say almost all communicators for almost every sector bia, and then for our sector Rexoma and Sadiq Abdulai, who happens to be the boss of 3 music awards. Na mene NDC for kasa, mene NPP for kasa, mene NDC ni bako esa kasa enti noti fie na kasa me CPP ni enya hwe omobana e osedi nkomo a ebedi nkomo brawe esha sese kasa ma NDC no amafo bebre na up na asem. I remember TV3 for debate, and then most of the conversation that did in Mobo. Why were they mentioning your name? Say, what is your Mark? But Mark is your senior man.
Mark the boss, Mark he's my mentor, and I'm very, very close to Mark. We talk a lot, so Mark the really panel. So I mean, it's
what did you do different on the day?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing I've been doing, and I've been advancing the arguments either on radio. It's the same conversations that we have. I mean, even in the industry and all of that. You know, I think that for a lot of people, that was their first experience, really paying attention or listening to me really talk about industry in the ways that I've always done. You know, and if you realize my approach in talking about industry has always been more from an insight, data, facts perspective. You know, a lot of people do not understand what the creative industry entails. They don't understand the scope. You know, most importantly, they are not able to find the connections with policy and states. You know, and that's one of the things that, within our party, we've been able to master. You know, so in saying it, you know, I'm sure that's one of the things that they were highlighting and say, oh, I mean, we may have done well, but we take it in good faith.
Where were you 4 years ago?
4 years ago, where was I?
I mean, in the party.
In the party?
Yeah.
In the party, I was just, I mean, one of those people in the back room, mainly from a constituency perspective. You know, but 4 years ago, I was not too active in politics. I was still, I mean, in my creative pursuits. From 2004, I've always been a background person. And I'm a Juma from production assistant, became a producer, started my own shows, went on to become head of programs and productions at Viasat1, worked with a number of organizations, Ghana, international, and everything within the creative industry space and marketing. So I was there. 4 years ago in 2016, I was running News Africa. I'm a co-founder of News Africa anyway, and I was the CEO of News Africa. And around this time, 4 years ago to the election, I was running one of the biggest youth campaigns for Oxfam. You know, it was something that connected to music and all of those things. So I was not really active in the frontline politics, but I've always been a party boy, in my constituency and been supporting. You know, but I mean, within the last 4 years, you know, that's when I really decided that okay, I'm going to avail myself, my expertise and my experience.
I think this year, Panama, who said you were talking a lot about politics. Yeah. Anytime I see your post, I'm like, hey, Charlie Sadiq, I do affecting like 3 music awards. I'm on phone from who's wrong?
I mean, it's not. I mean, it doesn't. You know the things about politics in this town. Often when you're doing it, nice or but if you understand what you're doing, if you understand where you're going, if you understand what makes you, I mean, you're not afraid of anything, you know, really. I I mean, what's the worst that can happen? He said, "Three music was like Masugi man accident." Or
unya sponsorship. Already because unya na ketwa sa one.
So that's the point that I'm saying. That I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We've seen it all. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? That it won't come on, or what? And would that be the end of my life? Or would that be, I mean, the end of my relevance in Ghanaian national affairs? Or, you know, it would be the issue. I mean, I'm a risk taker, you know. I've always taken risk from God knows how long. I've always been entrepreneurial at heart. At a very young age of about 22, 23, or that I was. I had my own shows, 30 minutes, Fashion GH, Footprints. They are shows that I created with my partner at the time, I mean, Step. You know, so I've always taken risk. And I've always learned from it. And so for me, I'm not afraid of taking risks. I always take risks. 3 music awards here, I mean, year 1, close to about 3 million. We went in year 2, year 3. It's all risk. So I'm risk averse. I'm not one to be shaken by any best. I'm looking at where I come from, the family I come from. If you check my family line, and if you check my background, Zongo boys they show you. I didn't even form that. So you're not guaranteed the top, and you come to the what's it called to the top. What's the worst that can happen, really? So it's not. And obviously, as a young person, every young person that is watching us, be about as far as any crime, and as far as it's not wrong, do it.
That's true. And then
if you don't end the either ways be it is good for you. Either you will learn experiences from you which will build you up, or you will succeed. If you don't succeed, the experience will be worth the while. I mean, today I speak about all the things that I speak about in the industry. It all came from different experiences I've had coming up in the industry. You know, so really and truly, I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
How were you selected? Did you apply and as this guy speaks so well, he knows much about the industry, so let's pick him and then Rexoma. How were you picked?
We've always been party people. Like I said, in 2016, you know, I was doing private job, but I was a party person. I was helping my constituency. So I'm known within the party as a party person. But I was working more in the background. Uncle Rexoma has been with the party from 92. You know, they were there from long. But what you're saying here, both parties and I leverage the arts. They've always leveraged the art from what you call an entertainment value perspective, entertainment value angle, where the chair campaign, you know, momentum, and after elections are won, the what's it called? What's the event they call it? Coronation, 7th January. The entertainment value of it. Yeah. It was not more from a top leadership part, and that's something that I've always been pushing for. So within the party, I've always made a point to them that if I'm going to be involved, and I'm a politician, I mean, I've been looking to go to parliament and all of those things. It's always been the aim. I mean, within what I do within the parties and all of that. So the point has been that, okay, this is an industry that I'm coming in. Within my party, the thought leadership, the insight in terms of how we enable it seems to be lost. If coming from this industry and I'm involved in politics, if I don't shape up those thinking within the party, it will be some way. You know, so then I started to rally around Mpenimfono and everybody that trying to get them to understand that there are opportunities here. I mean, these are the opportunities. I made them understand that, look, the creative industry, I mean, has more chances even than oil or the energy center to employ more people and create more wealth for the country. I'm saying, hey, how? That you show them, do all the necessary connections. And because I'm a more insights, data, numbers guy, I was able to speak their language because often that's what they understand. I was able to draw the necessary connections, bring the case studies in different markets and everything to let them understand and see their real opportunity. And they're like, wow, how do we move from here? Me and correct a leader. Me and correct a number of us. Ola, Budog.
Oh, Ola is still part of you.
Oh, yeah.
What's the same answer with Odalo?
Yeah, Ola is still part of it. Like, you see, a lot of people do not know Ola. Ola is a deep industry guy. he's got the facts, figures at his fingertips.
But also as compared to previous, like 4 years back when he was all over making noise. Now, I don't know whether because he's on radio now or
Now he's on radio, but Ola has always, provided that necessary support, and this Lola is a very big part of a lot of the things and ideas and the manifestos that put out. So we built the manifesto. Creating a manifesto relative to the creators.
Ola Michael or Yola? Ola Michael.
Ola Michaels, yes, Ola. So we virtually did all the necessary research, put it together. The other unnamed top industry groups they will rather, we don't necessarily mention them. They will also involve in the background in terms of what we put together. And so, we made the necessary pitch to the party and all of that. So we didn't actually even know, we're going to happen because we didn't know what form or structure the campaign was going to take. But we knew, at the end of the day, manifesto once it's put out as party members, it will be our duty to really amplify it.
Put your things together.
Yes, so they accepted it. So we put together the manifesto relative to the creative industry, and then shared it with the manifesto committee.
How many pointers?
Initially we had a lot of pointers, but now we're having about 16, 17, and there are other ones connected to that are in other parts of the manifesto. Like the Free National Apprenticeship Program, NAFTI, it's also under big push. So it's connected. There's a TVET, free TVET. It's all connected.
So if I say a 15, do you think you can do all 15 in 4 years?
Yeah, we can. And it's very practical. Very practical. You didn't afraid the manifesto, the People's Manifesto. We call it the People's Manifesto because it factors in the needs and aspirations of industry. So we paid attention to what industry needs from the conversations that they were having in industrial forums, on radio and everything. Then we had conversations with some experienced and exciteful industry people on how industry should be enabled. And then obviously on the basis of young experience, insight and exposure, we're able to put it together, crystallize it, and present the things that industry need that it's easier to be able to do. So for instance, when we say, we're going to make cheap credit available to enable industry to produce, the creative content to put on digital platforms.
Credit like?
Cheap credit
data.
Like loan.
Loan, okay.
Not yet.
Credit.
Cheap credit, that's when we say cheap credit in financial terms, not in money.
Okay.
Yeah, but at a very realistic rates for industry. When we say it, we're coming from the school of thought that we created the Exim Bank. NDC created the Exim Bank. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama created the Exim Bank in 2016. Part of what the Exim Bank was supposed to do was to add value to creative products, right? Kente. And then we also know, film and music today have assumed exportable status, so you could make a case for it. And so once we know that the fund is there, and because we also created it, we just connected it to just what's it called? New plan and new idea. And we knew because it's there, there will be an easy fit and an easy connection. And then we made it. So it's practicable and all that. It's just unfortunate that the NPP hasn't approached it from a more insightful thought leadership and a proper enabling space. They are still caught up in the whole era of creative industry, the same way a concept for. Look, the creative industry employs far more younger people than all the sectors.
But NDC knew that in 4 years.
We did a lot of things. People don't know this. We did a lot of things. Look, South Film Development and Classification Bill, which birthed the National Film Authority and also was supposed to have come with the fund, why in the past year? It was the NDC. Omo Interim Creative Arts Council here, Omo Office here, Omo Arctic Accra Tourist Information Center. One is here, it was the NDC. And NDC, who added NDC, who elevated the creative industry conversation within the policy and government space by adding it to the ministry, adding it to the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. It was the NDC. So we've done a number of things, carefully understanding how the industry is. What we are doing now is that our plan now is a more enhanced layer that we are adding to it, with a proper understanding of where industry needs to be, how the state needs to enable it, which part the state needs to come in. People do not what's in the creative industry. The creative industry scope is big. Look, from fashion to music to film to theater, to graphics, to media. You are a creative professional. You are a creative industry entrepreneur. So what you are running is a creative enterprise. And creative industry is one of the qualities of the creative industry is that it is one of the industries who use school and now who you don't need to wait for anybody to give you an employment. You are employing yourself and employing the cameraman, employing the editor, employing all these other people. Zionfelix, look at the value chain that you are impacting. Look at the number of people that Zionfelix is employing. What are you doing? You're providing sustainable employment. So the camera guy who finishes film school is working with you. That's employment that you're providing. So you're running a creative enterprise. How do so for you, for instance, you're producing content. We're creating what we're trying to pass BBFN, pursue the passing of BBFN broadcasting bill. And the broadcasting bill, part of it is supposed to come with what you call the Media Development Fund. So you as Zionfelix, for instance, you want to expand. You want to buy cameras. You want to expand your content line. You have a perfect plan. Okay, within the last 1 year, as Zionfelix, I had 3 or 4 different types of programs. And this is the revenue that it was able to bring to me. I've got a new idea to expand. But maybe my revenue from within my revenue, I can't immediately make that investment. Yes, I make that investment. Check and it will be difficult for you. So you can apply to this Media Development Fund to assess cheap credit. Again, you can't cheap credit. Okay, Kruma say a lot of the banks, some are loan, some are loan and all of those things. But it doesn't factor in the nature of your industry. Your industry it's not like autumn tomatoes, or it's not like buying and selling, where ujisikana maybe waji loan, when you maybe about airport, about port, ukoton within a particular period, you pay back the loan at a certain interest. Now you would have to produce your content. You put it on YouTube. When you put it on YouTube, every quarter, right? Every quarter it accumulates for you to get a certain payment. It's a different thing altogether. So there's a need for people that understand your industry, to structure whatever chief credit that you can give it to you. And again, we can give you this chief credit from a perspective that the fact that you are creating employment for Ghanaians. So maybe there will not be even interest on it. Because if Zionfelix expands with the money that we're giving to you for the Media Development Fund, obviously when you're creating new line of content, if your camera people that you're operators that you are employing at the same time are 2, maybe there's a need for you to have another or 2 people. Yeah. That's employment that you've created. You see, so this is us that understand industry, understand what you're doing. I liken, when I went to Kumasi, I liken an example to Mesesiedu. She has a film village and she's producing content. But before Mesesiedu was producing the content, what was the feedback for the television channels? The television channels complained, say we're not getting the quality content and local content policy. The level of content to produce. Yeah. But it is not the lack of people producing. Mr. is producing the movies and all of that. She's educating people, right? There's a whole angle to it. But our channel friends in Ghana, you would understand, say, commercially producing in Kwada content, for instance, it's not a commercially viable thing. Do this Kashebu Krana, maybe it would, Obabaka. So government could partner with Mr. Sedu and say, this is money. You've proven to be a prolific content producer. This is cheap credit for you. Or because of the social impact we're just giving you this money as a grant. Don't pay back. Because at least, you say which may be said by the fireside and my will be on the TV. There will be a cultural element to it. Cultural promotional element to it. So all these understanding is very, very important. So when you roll the media development and the broadcasting bill and there's a media development fund, your lights, Edu, and all these content people that are looking for money to produce some of this content even before sponsorship, they can produce at the quality that you want for the television channel. So that way, though, when you say you want to do a local content policy, you know there's some fund that independent producers can fall on to produce the quality that the television channels need to be able to turn themselves around. Why are you doing that? You're doing that because if we help and local and these private people and fix some element of them. What all the things now you're creating wealth, because you started as Zionfelix. When all the things that you're doing as an enterprise is you're finding a way to create wealth, you are expanding. When you create wealth, what do? You expand. So when you give them opportunities, you make it easy for them to create wealth. What would they do? They would expand. When they're expanding, so they are employing more people. So people will finish school and begin to go and work for them. That is one of the surest ways to deal with your unemployment problems. There's another part of it. So in fixing unemployment problems, we're also recognizing that OBTFA, the person wants to end up doing fashion or palmade. That's a creative enterprise, a creative industry. Even upholstery, kente, and all of those things, right? But you don't have the money for it. And that's the limiting factor. We said that we'll pass we'll start a program we call the Free National Apprenticeship Program. It's what you're watching as all you have to do is apply. And to say, Zionfelix, they say no back to Zionfelix, so Zionfelix. You know, so when you say scan about it's your way, nipa way, so that the person can understand you and learn, right? You bet you. And once doing that, we'll give the person an allowance. Senior, we'll be yes.
It's easier said than done.
No, it's not easier said than that. Yeah, we know we can do it. Yeah, it's if you look at Sika, amount for his MPP say on the bigger ministries on we have saying now, you can make savings from them, put it there. Look at ministry, they have about 125 ministers. So that's it. And every month, Minister Marco on the V8, right? The man the police, housing allowance, the man Sika Bibre, and all these things balloons your state purse. If you can find a way to reduce all of that, and that means some of the ministries may be on I mean, how do you take away aviation and railways from transport? It's the same thing. It is transport. How do you decouple it? And so, and one ministry has about ways to four. I mean, so there's no level of thinking. If you can make these savings, you can do that. And we too know, we're making the case here. There's too much wastage. Time. We borrowed less than the current MPP government. MPP today have borrowed in the excess of $20 billion in this kakitwa. It will be a kind of resource envelope. Sika buy home from all the statutory payment and the and they have 374 billion cedis, right? Which is about 3 or 4 more than right? Like how much we got? Over 3 oil fields. You jam a number of innovative sources for funding. Infrastructure fund, heritage fund.
I want us to stick to
please. Make examples, emergency stabilization fund, all of these things. So the resources to be able to sell by your way money now, it is there. It is there. You can find the resources is there. But when you're and you don't think about the people in the very good way now, you may lose it. But this is, like I said to you, our plan is to develop different sectors, different industrial areas. Send industrial areas, will create more wealth and then create more jobs. And the creative industry is a major part of the things that we're looking to do. Okay. That's the more reason why I want to say this time around, and for the first time, there's a major campaign that has spokespersons or people in charge of the creative industry.
And I like that one. I mean, because Ubia ne Nigerian Brofo, name industry, how Ubisa communicate issues no. So quickly, Mami, 10 pointers in your manifesto.
1, the promises will create a new ministry for creative and digital economy. The reason behind it is
creative
and digital economy. The reason behind it is creative culture and digital economy. The reason behind it is simple. First, I did art a car ministry, but feedback again. Because just say there's a reason why I frame a manifesto, people's manifesto, because we took into consideration the feedback of the various different industries and sectors of society. So the feedback is that time and creative arts or arts when it's set with ministry tourism, because tourism has a more structured landscape, more the relevant laws, more the very relevant organizations, Ghana Tourism Authority, GTDC. It's easier say more activities, smooth. My idea, we don't have it, and so if you appoint a minister and you have an easier way to achieve a certain KPI, often there will be a lot of attention there, other than but here, and it's a very big industry. And if you use the NA National Education Authority, data crowd using creative industry professionals, you can call 1 million, which is not 1 million people, which is a small. So the point is that if you can call to 1 million, right, and you're looking to, empower this sector, harmonize it for back together, because fashion say, right, a creative industry profession, but rather under trade. So there's a need for you to have a harmonizing effect, then elevate the conversation within the policy and the government space, so that sharing now for the sector, we can pursue it with like one focus and attention. So that's one. Two, I just say I'm sure about the broadcasting bill and what's it called, and the media development fund. And also I say in culturally, there's a need to control your media space. Ensure that you have the proper local content policy that would enable other sectors of the media. Most important. Yes,
the influence of foreign content.
That's how we want to do it, because you see, my mom example say television channel, it's easier and cheaper for him to acquire that content, which he or she thinks is quality. So what I say, and it's not easier for the independent local content producer to access funding to produce that level of quality. It's over can say, okay, your local content policy 70-30 and 80-20.
Content in a way.
Content in a way. So that's why it has to come with the media development fund, so that these people can apply to it and create the needed content. So that's another thing that we're bringing. We're also looking to start a program called the Free National Apprenticeship Program, which is going to make it easier for at the PAM to join the creative person hairdressing, productions or anything like that. All you have to do is apply.
And then we had the agent too.
Yes, and also all you have to do is apply. When you apply, we'll find the necessary people that you have to learn from. We will pay them. Also, we'll give you an allowance for the period now, so that just to enhance your education, we can do that so that you can come out of it.
Is that feasible?
It's very, very feasible. An example on why it's feasible. And then
as a what will be school as a man's
feasible. And for instance, again, another promise here is that we want to upgrade NAFTI, right, into a National University of Media and Creative Arts. Now all these studios and sound stages you will sit with these universities. You sit with this university. Now people can actually go and learn and understand. And we are expanding the scope. NAFTI is saying much film and broadcast training. But in music, because now you can have proper place with the right equipment and studios and everything where people sound design and everything all can learn all of that. And so you want to add theater and all of that. So when you now so NDC now shared the His Excellency John Dramani Mahama between 2013 to 2016, where he spent $6 billion in establishing social development infrastructure. Right, $6 billion. Now me catch us say as part of me $10 billion big push. Me timi NAFTI na be that. So it is feasible. That's why I said to you that as much as it speaks to the aspirations and needs of industry, these are but very practicable ideas and solutions which are necessary to enable the industry. Beyond that, mature was to say, because you're in a past Exim Bank, and we understand, we left some funds to be able to add value to creative products for them to be able to distribute digital and make money. We understand. We are not promising to say, digital platforms. Building the digital platforms it's a heavy take. Establishing a new YouTube, establishing a new Boom Play, establishing a new Spotify is a heavy take. However, these people that are producing the content needs the funds to be able to pursue some of these things. So if Celeb Inform Manso is producing, last year produced say one movie, right? She needs extra money to be able to go, extra cheap credit, to be able to do 3 movies. And she will upload it to say Netflix, because Netflix is a quality base. Yeah. One of the first requirements is that you have to meet a certain level of quality, and our quality is Iska. So if you can make such cheap credit to Celeb Inform, it means that within a year she can produce at least 3 or 4 movies, right? Upload it on these digital platforms, and she can make money for herself to be able to pay back these cheap credits, which also means that if Celeb Performance also employed that camera operator one time last year, it means that if you make cheap credit available to her, she can produce 3 or 4 movies. It means she can employ the camera operator 4 times or 3 times within the year. That's sustainable employment. So as I said, when we're speaking about the aged and needy funding, again, the thought behind it is that every now and then there's an issue that as a film kakra, where and it's a bit embarrassing. It's not, I won't say embarrassing, but it's an indictment on society. Say there are no safety nets for our creative artists. Bobra, entertaining. They've carried all the distance of the industry, promoted the country and everything. Now, I say, and they are not too active, and they've had to rely on the benevolent to heal themselves here and there. So we want to be able to take the lead and create and put in the a seed fund for the creation of a fund. Now they don't even have to go now interview me here we just apply to it. And then the seed fund, aside from the private seed fund, we also get other people, private sector, everybody to get involved and put in some money there as part of their corporate social responsibility, so that the fund, can be able to advance for these people to take care of them when they are looking for some of this. Because I mean, really and truly, by now, we have to be able to create all the necessary safety nets. Then we are looking to put the industry on what you call the informal pension scheme. I mean, in the country, a lot of us in the industry, except Omo Juma in the more structured companies, do not have pension.
Yeah.
So if I worked in a structured company, my company will pay my SNAT and everything. But how about the artist who works for himself as an independent person? Aside from one investment, out the better and all of those things, if he goes out of first in the limelight, because Obia Oye Juma Edu Bibia Eso Juma Home. After a particular year, 60, 70, sometimes, a lot of them, you may not be able to be prolific in releasing songs and creating wealth with yourself than now for your friends. So around that time, the whole mindset is that your pension, year all over the years, would be a talk so that when you go into your pension, every month be back to just take care of you. A lot of them do not have it. So you're creating what you call the informal pension scheme. It takes into consideration, one, they don't have a regular income that can be on it, so that and get to that point now, there will be a pension scheme that can take care of them to set an asset and all of that in set, So that's one of it as well. Again, for creative arts, but let me just quickly check some of the distance. I think.
Okay, so I'm here with Sadiq Abdulai. You're one of the communicators for the National Democratic Congress. About Obi Kasamomo on the arts is one of them. And I'm really come on about manifesto for this year's election and what they will do for the creative arts industry and Ghana as a whole. Sector no. What they will do to help us. Now, Omoba, it's me a hold my account because this will be there forever. Omoba, near play back at Chomsey. When I'm cousin by my way.
And you're also looking to set up, be a friend, a system of legal aid for creative industry to access. One of the major challenges in industry, you would realize, is legal support, legal aid. So industry, they are entering into one deal after the other. We are artists who sign aggregator contract. Maybe when you are Zionfelix, you are entering into a content agreement. You don't necessarily know what you're going through. You are a fashion person. You are entering into some agreements that you'll be the designer, you provide your IP for your friends, and you don't know what you're going into. So I say, and all these things in here, if you are will be infringe on your rights. The thing we call intellectual property. It is a normal property. Also, a car that way, and I die that way, your property. So I say tangible. But intellectual property, if you are dreaming, I mean, it's your mind that would create here. We create Zionfelix, we create programs near the other. We create new me and say, no, be a befa. No, they acquire commercial offense and without recourse to you. How do you pursue the person? Thinking about going to lawyer crab, it's my prevent to say, adi crab,
up and down.
So this is what you call legal aid. Oko government of Ghana, Attorney General Officer, or more legal aid decks. But legal aid decks now also saying it's overstretched. And apart from the fact it's overstretched, focus on very heavily on human rights and gender. So we thought, say, to create that enabling environment where people can abide by the laws and everything. Also create, have a legal aid system where, want to do this and saying it'll be framing. Say a person sample and you me from abroad. He doesn't know how to go about it. But this is somebody who wants to do right. He called me. It turns out that because I knew it, I directed him. But it's something that if the legal aid is there, he could just email and say, this is what I want to do, receive a free legal advice, and he can pursue it. Okay. Be on the Mukrana, or so, okay, what happened? What shared to legal aid is okay. My phone say, my first document in a mouth, this is what you have to do, and then next forward, this is how you have to do. That's like a legal aid. That's something that can help pursue. So this has, but some of the other part in terms of film. So, in a passive film development and classification, really, I did National Film Authority but the MPP hasn't made any investment in it. They don't even have an office. Funding, I said, it's not there. So you realize that the film industry, it's still, it's virtually dead. Me can't. We say, film industry, doing so, and then me chair, me home, me share Mr. Abuaje 5 pack. I said, Mr. Abuaje, it was not doing so. I know, Sam Kumase, you guys more agenda 57 year. You have to be relevant for the party. So you leverage the biggest political issue at the time, which is the By the time, if you realized it, and if you had diagnosed the problem very well, you would have realized that we're going through a transitional phase where CD sales were becoming obsolete and the distribution lines was becoming blurred, they are quite digital. So there was a lot of confusion on what to do. And CD sales at the time globally for effects and even films was declining at a fast rate of 74%. So there was a problem. The movie industry was virtually gone at the time, and you are only misdiagnosing the problem and putting it onto politics and doing so. But it was not the case. And he says, oh, no. I said, okay, if it was not doing so, and then light away. How come the movie industry is not though?
I said, go you.
No, so there's a way to pick it up. I've made an argument for you.
So now how are you picking it up?
So there's a regulator,
okay.
Film authority. Film authority is to overlook the entirety of the sector. They are supposed to have branches office in Ashanti region and the northern sector, in Tamale as well, for the film sector. They provide the regulation for the film industry, right? And then when there are issues in the film industry as well, they are the ones that will take the lead in engaging government in what to do. Aside that, it's supposed to come with what you call the National Film Fund. Biggest problem, even at that time, with all of them, if they diagnosed the problem and they were not politicizing and saying do something.
During NDC's 4 years, it wasn't there.
We created the bill. So we created the bill in 2016. So that it was supposed to, and we're in power, would have operationalized it, had the office, the film fund would have been available, and all of those things. Today, the biggest problem for the film producers from Kuma or they're calling me is money. It's fund. Why fund? The distribution line is bled. So now, if we produce, aside cinemas, you'd have to put it on Netflix, Amazon Video Prime for you to make money. Even before the conversation starts, you have to meet a certain quality. So our quality, and you're 20,000 cities, and you're 10,000 cities, and you're 30,000 cities now. What do you mean? That's our quality. It's more than that. So the film fund is to make it easy for you to be able to do to apply for these things and then pursue it. One of the things the film fund was supposed to do, or is supposed to intended to do as well, is what infrastructure, cinema development in the country. So the film fund will sit down, assess it, and say, per the traction and the traffic that is coming, we think that in Ashanti region needs 2 district or 4 district cinemas. Yeah, so we are looking to establish the fund because it's in the
manifesto?
It's in the law, yes.
But in your manifesto, are you going to do that?
It's in our manifesto. It's one of the things that
the MPP said. Promised 1 region, 1 theatre. So more than a saying,
it is in the law. Okay, MPP, if MPP had read the law now, if they were really serious and committed about enabling the industry, they would have realized it has been prescribed by the law. You didn't need to promise it. All you need to do is operationalize the film fund. Make sure the airline to operationalize the film fund is passed. And beyond that, the law, the bill, that is given properly retool them. The film fund, the office in Accra, office. Retool them, give them the office. Make sure the directors, the executive directors, and the executive team are able to hire the necessary personnel for them to work with nationwide. Give them the necessary backing as a state to ensure that they do their work. They are a creation of the law. The law has prescribed it.
Okay.
You didn't need to
it's
actually make a promise.
About it.
1 year bar, we are trying to ensure the law that we passed, is fully adhered. Most importantly,
I mean the cinemas.
Yeah, because it is in the law. I'm saying to you, the cinemas, it is in the law. If you operationalize the film fund has its own sources. The film fund and the organization of the film fund will decide how do you go about it, but it prescribes cinema development. We don't have to necessarily come and say, oh, maybe I miss you. The law mandates you to do it, and there's a source of the fund for you to do it. We're coming to ensure, that law is fully operational, and the film authority are funded to do their work. That's all.
Okay, Sadiq Abdulai. Ekasa. And then people also do. I think this will be the last question on promises and everything. Then we move to other issues. People do complain, say, me call Kumasa Kobosho Kampana, who be hotel, me call Western Regional, school park, be Kobosho. We don't have places to organize shows. And then I think the current government, I can say, okay, one region, one theater or something like that. Yeah, one region, one theater. The issues about. So when the NDC comes, is there going to be changes in players amount for able shows? Maybe so Kumasi, and stadium. How many people can fill stadium? Sarkodie, Shatawale, 1BM, Stoneboy, few people. But what about the few artists? Maybe young boys here. So what is the NDC going to do when it comes to these kind of event centers when we vote for them this year?
We've approached it mainly from the view, it's the private sector that's supposed to take the lead on some of these things because of the cost element, the managing factor, and everything. So the private sector is taking the lead. What we are looking to do, like I said to you, is to provide that necessary conducive environment and providing the cheap credit and partnership with the private sector for them to do it. That is what's important. I mean, as much as you're supposed to do social development infrastructure, for this particular industry specific things, is the private sector. They've taken a lead on it. The NPP didn't understand it and appreciate it, and they were trying to. So the private sector will determine that on the basis of the numbers or the number of events and the traction in, say, Western region, we're looking to establish theater. So this private sector, because you have floated these cheap credits from the various different funds now, people float, and you're open for a certain PPP, private-public partnership, this private sector people will come to you and they do it. So you are looking to create that enabling environment and providing that cheap credit in place so that this private sector will be motivated to come to this, I'm looking to establish ABCD. They are doing it already. It's like hotels. They're establishing the hotels, they're establishing the venues across the world. Because we understand the sector very well, we know across the world, the venues and things are owned by the private sector. But the private sector, they establish these things in collaboration with the government. So we are, focus really is provide a conducive environment, is provide the necessary cheap credit and necessary partnership to enable the private sector for them to go and do it. So like I'm saying to you, if you understand this and understand the space very well, you recognize it is not for you to actually even promise it. Provide the basics and the foundation, and the private sector will take the lead to do it. It's just like enabling the industry. It is not us that are actually going to do the work of the things that you're supposed to do. It is by making available the necessary cheap loans or investment credits for you, and creating that necessary conducive environment for you to thrive.
Okay, why are so many celebrities Amonomia campaign 2016?
To be honest, I mean, I don't know. In 2016, I was not involved in the celebrity part of it. And I don't know how they were engaged. I don't know what went into it and all of that. To be honest, I don't know. And so, I don't know where they are. I mean,
is it because Kenny won't here?
It could be a factor. I'm not saying it. It could be a factor, but like I was saying, I don't know what happened. I don't know what kind of arrangement there was at the time. I think that at the time, I think it was Selassie Ibrahim and no deal meaning. Selassie Ibrahim.
Because there were a whole lot of them, but this year they...
So I think the best person who can really speak about how they were engaged, how they got onto the campaign, and why they are not on the campaign this time around will be Selassie Ibrahim. But in our case, we have put out a message. We have put out a promise. We're inviting everybody, including whether you're a celebrity, whether you're the ordinary Ghanaian and everything, to, if you want, volunteer to ensure that it comes to fruition. We are open. We have an open door policy. If to a net celebrity before phone friends, Sadiq. I like what you're doing. We like what the NDC is doing, and we are really interested in it. Why not?
But
the celebrities are there.
Your leader says no.
That's what I'm saying, that from a national campaign perspective, but from the retail campaign perspective, I mean, it's volunteerism. If they want to volunteer, why not? But it's not a key factor or feature of the campaign. Our campaign this time around is mainly on the message that speaks to the aspirations of Ghanaians. It is direct to them. We understand the needs of Ghanaians. We've done a number of things to uplift and enable the various sectors of the Ghanaian economy. So we understand it. So we feel that a more one-to-one engagement, going to them and getting them to buy into the vision, we feel, so there's a more focus on what goes into the messaging, right? And the most important, how these messages is communicated to these people. Campaigns do change every now and then, but these celebrities are still welcome to join. There's a retail part of the campaign where we're doing street to street, market to market, door to door, house to house, and everything. If you're a celebrity and you are in Arasu Waswagon and you want to also join, I mean, you don't need to be giving a friends, unless of course, Sikasem or anything like that, or you want to do it, I don't know how Selassie Ibrahim will, or you want to do the Selassie Ibrahim one or anything like that, that's why not. You can reach out to her and then you can have, the necessary conversations and then we'll move.
Let me ask this before I come back to this question. First 100 days for the arts industry, what should we expect?
A few things. The ministry is a very major one, because the ministry is what will take the lead in trying to harmonize the sector and ensure all these plans will be pursued. Most importantly as well, plans will quickly start on the NAFTI upgrade. The conversation has been had regarding where we cited issues about where the new National University of Media and Creative Arts will be cited, will take the lead in terms of where the investment is, when the investment is going to drop in for the expansion, will take the lead in the first 100 days. Most importantly, the National Free Apprenticeship Program as well will start within the first 100 days, which is very, very important as well. And we'll begin to take steps. Like I said, the ministry will begin to take steps to ensure that the necessary investment to the National Film Authority and the move to operationalize the LI to have the film fund will be in motion. By such a time as well, if the MPP hasn't passed the creative industry bill, it will be our call to fall back on.
You're going to do a lot in 100 days.
No, it's a steps. So because you have to approach it all, but most importantly, the ministry will take the lead within the 100 days. And when it takes the lead, the ministry will begin to harmonize the sector, to bring all the various different sectors under it and beginning to take the plans. So I'm giving you an idea of the things that will begin to happen within that particular. But of course, first 100 days, you have to show commitment, say, I'm on top of the issues and you want to do it. The NAFTI establishment will not totally start and end within the first 100 days. So what I say, the Free National Apprenticeship Program will run throughout the 4 years. But the process has to start because it's a process. So the first 100 days, a lot of focus will go in the process. And that process is what will establish your commitment as a government. Say, don't make it promises, I'll pursue with this one.
Sarkodie and Samini endorsement, that's a mouse you. Sleepless nights.
No.
I'm not kasa.
Dabi. I mean, it doesn't. I'm just pointing out a few things. One, I'm pointing out the insensitivity of the MPP government and the fact, look, I've just told you, we'll borrow $20 billion. When you have total resource of 374 million cedis, you owe 3 oil fields. You got a number of innovative sources of funds, which strongly shows how as a government, you've had the biggest resources than all Ghanaian governments combined. But you are the only government who won't see hospital dying, won't see schools, won't see markets. Also, year of roads, a number of places where they don't even have the roads. You understand? So the questions Asantiman, for instance, is asking is that Sikanwehi. Also, with the free HHS, assuming double track free HHS, which has problems, obviously, because if problems in need double track, if problems in need free HHS, one can't change, so you end double track. or catch and say you end up with because you recognize that there's a problem with it. By no point you bisa say resources here when you na mabobo actually $20 billion here we borrow 374 million cedis here when ya as a buy our GGG resources. 3 oil foods as free home innovative sources of funds here NDC jama we na no when ya as a party. What percentage of it a call free SHS cry? It's not up to 3%. This kind of can na when timia in see die, see schools, see universities, see hospitals, roads projects cry, massive significant ones, ni na 1 year, right? And then 2 months to an election, we hear say, what time sika they come the artist to endorse you? What do you think we'll do? It is very, very insensitive. It's very insensitive to that person, maybe who are dental, and you have a medical emergency and you have to move all the way to Kolebu and our Ridge Hospital.
But did somebody tell you that he's giving them money?
You see, we are aware. We are aware
that he paid Sarkodie.
We are aware
that he paid Sarkodie.
Samini and Samini.
Oh, okay.
We are aware, and from the information we are strongly aware. Funds have been given to these people to make an endorsement, and they've not denied it, and they cannot deny it. Reach out to Samini. Reach out to them. They'll tell you that we are aware. Money has gone to them. We don't have a problem with the fact that government has decided to give creative artists money to provide a service for them. But our point is that now that going to the election, the question the ordinary citizen is asking or should be asking is that when in and for which reason I've not seen your hospitals and
this is the 4 years ago.
But we established hospitals, we established markets,
but you could have done
we established
more.
the roads. Yes, but I'm saying that I've done so much more even with less. Me mean less, but me see hospitals, me see roads, me see interchanges. Where? Which are the projects are significant projects? We've done Circle Dubai, Obechebilamte. It's on our it's our project. Tema interchange, our project. Pokwas interchange. Nanado doesn't know Pokwas interchange. They are not. We designed it. We raised the funds. We did everything. Obaya will say, "Oh, you changed the design." No, you've not done anything. We did Cocoa Roads. We started the Cocoa Roads. So what I say. So we even with the less money now, we've been able to do. If you go commercial, a massive KJTR market, go to Cape Coast. There's a Kotokraba market. You know, there's a Tepa, what's it called? Hospital. Kumewu Hospital, there's a market. Look at the Kumasi Airport project, phase 1, phase 2. Phase 3. Go to Tema, roundabout interchange. Free for speeders, adjoining motorway. Free 37, new road there, ya boy chia, they fat 37, we PS. So I say, a number of road projects, co-roads near the idea, even with the less funds. But in your case, when you're waiting now what time scale come celebrities to endorse you, which is fine, as because you're giving them money for them to provide a particular service. But the point I'm saying to you is that it is insensitive for you not to have done all these things and then what team scale come celebrities said they should endorse you. What are they endorsing?
I have 3 screenshots of you on my phone right now, and then I think 4 or 5 different tweets, and in all of them you're calling Sarkodie ignorant.
Yes.
In all the tweets, like 5 tweets.
Yes.
Calling Sarkodie ignorant.
Yeah, because it's ignorant to suggest an Addo solve them so. It's a very, very ignorant position. When people saw it in point, the people started laughing. They're like, oh, Sarkodie one more time, not again. It is ignorant to suggest, oh, Nanam Twaso because he solved them so. How do you solve them so? And then I always to solve them so. Look, them so NDC, like we've always said, and it's a Celeb John Dramani Mama has always said, boils down to 3 different things. Capacity, right? And then the debts in the sector, what you call the energy sector debts, and then the funding source to be able to solve some of these things, right? Nini nano, yene. When Dumso had been a perennial problem in Ghana from '98, Kofa Bresso, Milsa Bresso, Emma Mahama Bresso. Mahama took the decision, His Excellency General Mahama took the decision to say that I am going to fix this situation once and for all. So say a capacity problem, he signed what we call power purchase agreements, 11 of them. MPP, even when they were in opposition, said, oh, fraudulent, someone between. Yeka said, they only deferred it. Where defers means that, say, even say you have 11, you will say, oh, I need the capacity of 5, and ne, more amakano, mosome here from 2018 to 2021. And I'm also Amakano, the last mosome here from 2021 to 2025. but you didn't cancel it. But yeah, at the time, no, we said, say, the excess capacity now year one, yeah, established, no, a bio honoma, you can export it to Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, yeah, more power already, so we can make more money for the country. And you can even give some of this excess capacity to some of these factories so that you can get more money for the country. So we signed the power purchase agreement. Beyond that, we realized, the biggest issue with the problem in the sector is what you call the energy sector debt. A sika from oil, from gas to partners from Nigeria and it was crippling. It was coming down to about $10 million. So you created the Energy Sector Levy Act, which had a certain source of fund. Over time, it raised about $3 billion for you to be able to clear this $10 million and then be able to put you on track to pay for the other offense data from within the sector. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na ye we ni na MPPT way. What did they do to solve them so? Capacity are no, funding source are no. So if you are there and making an impression and implying in a particular song, say, Nanado solve them so, or you under them so, Nanado at it's a very, very ignorant, it's a laughable position. Like a big rapper of his sort should not even be saying this. That's why I said to him that it's very ignorant. One analysis of Mayama, he cannot even say that to you. So it is very, 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 very ignorant. Like a big artist, and that's the point. So it was an advice to him to say, yo, guy, you don't know these things. Don't be wading into it because you're a big rapper, you're a big artist. At a certain level, you're more or less like a social commentator of a society. You should be more legacy driven. But when you wade into all these traps and things and trying to comment about things that you don't know about, how else should he tell you? She tell you that chief. Ignorant to any insult. It's just to show you that you don't know. I mean, you are ignorant about the facts. So I'm pointing out to you that don't go into these things because Sarkodie is becoming notorious for making a lot of ignorant comments about everything, including his industry. So when he goes into it, we've got to draw him and say, hey, chief. Don't go there. You're very ignorant.
Are you not afraid of his endorsement?
Why?
Are you not afraid of his endorsement?
He's
a big guy. I mean, he has followers. I mean,
yes.
He's going to...
But his followers are all not, supporting one party. That's the thing about
That's politics. What I'm saying.
Politics is also bigger.
People who are from your side, seeing that Sarkodie is telling his people, telling them to vote for the other party.
You're trying to think that what you're saying is that you're thinking that people are not smart. The Ghanaian voter is sophisticated. The Ghanaian voter is smart and knows it. Don't insult their intelligence.
So what he says is going to change nothing.
Yeah, for a lot of them, don't come and insult their intelligence. I've given you an example. If I'm a Ghanaian voter and who say, when there's all these resources, I'm able to and when to anyway, no attempts can come as celebrities for us, for them to endorse you, I would see through it. And aside from the insensitive part of it, right? Again, I would question. Ask Sarkodie, for instance. So if you claim that these people solved them so, how did they solve them so? Now what you can provide, and you're very ignorant about it. You think that they are not sophisticated. Even his fans, even his core base of his fans, there are people that will be smart in there.
Final question: will Sarkodie and Samini's endorsement change anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've been there. You just spoke about how in 2016 we're there and everything. Because the root cause of the problem is the Ghanaian voter. Don't take them for granted. If you take the Ghanaian voter for granted, if you take that, the questions everybody is asking is that industry, creative industry, MPPA made 18 promises industry. You think the Ghanaian voter is not smart and can't see through this? They are seeing it and realize, now we made 18 promises and he couldn't deliver one. You can't even shout about it or talk about it. Beyond that, generally in the country, the Ghanaian voter itself knows their pain and feel it. You think it's what you come and tell them. You look at you and say, now you think it's your endorsement that will do anything to them. No. And that's what I sent to you, that I pointed out to you that it is insensitive to take the Ghanaian voter. Look, almost creative arts for change. Creative arts for more. Some of the information if you are more, because they are pained. The creative arts for change and creative arts for more people within the NPP are pained because in 2008 they campaigned for the party. In 2000 they lost. They exercised offense and loyalty with the party. 2012 they campaigned for the party. In 2016 they campaigned for the party, right? in 2020, they are still not getting what they are supposed to get. Socrates, you saw him, because they are not getting what they are supposed to get. You are expecting Onono to go out there to campaign or even vote for you when you've not been able to do all these things. Now what time scale come Samini, so on and also. The question that we're asking ourselves is, so you had all this money, my brand, say can't want sanity in industries wouldn't have even their industry have been better off? What time, what trying 2 months for election to go in? So even within their creative ask for change and even in the industry in Pono, they are looking at it like, what time scale they come as Abra industry problems so to solve it. How do you expect them to actually feel? How much more the Ghanaian are when you've not built universities for them, you've not built schools for them, you've not built a FNSM for them, you've only done a very shambolic double track for as amount. What do you want them to feel?
Thank you, Sadiq.
You know,
He's Sadiq. He speaks for the NDC on the creative arts. My name is Zionfelix. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Addo for me chiamo. It is saying me did the mammy say one. I mean, what's them the day be catcher? What a tap sending car? Debbie, what's it say? Nana was a hand. My main can't share way. Tap send. App, I'll bet me out good phone so. Now, baby, I will Europe, with me send this Kako Ghana, Ecomawa Addo for and 10 temona. Now, so more Mujisicano, so more MTN, so Vodafone, Tigo, and na say Airtel swa. Omubenya sika ne tentem hona na de wo mukra ne say fees bia anka ho untua fees bia and exchange rate no so was so kama or iPhone and say or Android that de obeya ne say obekọ App Store no na wa hwehwe tap send chale me say menye ja ho me say tapo na send